He wants to jump
1,000 cars.
Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
It's too many cars.
car.
Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right?
Yeah.
I want to have a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West.
Internet. You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast
that's
content.
a very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke. Welcome back to Auto Off Topic. Hello, Brad.
Good evening, Andrew. Good evening, everybody. Or good morning, depending on what time it is when you listen.
Good day.
Hello, everybody, I should say. Yes. Yeah. Good day. Have you seen the new Christmas movie with Will Ferrell?
No, I haven't watched it. I saw the ad for it.
Okay. Well, in that movie, good day is a curse, so don't say good day.
Oh, okay.
Back in, Scrooge times. In, what's that, 1600s England or 1700s England? I don't know what it was at, but supposedly that, according to that movie, I have no historical fact to back this up, but in the movie they say, when they say good day to someone, good afternoon, you're actually insulting them.
Are you a Muppets Christmas Carol fan?
100%.
Yeah, me too.
It is the superior Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Anything Muppets is superior than its live action counterpart.
Yeah. All right.
That's just a fact. Yeah.
It's
But I mean, we grew up in the same era, in the same, kind of way. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm admittedly, as an adult, a huge fan of Muppets still to this day. So no stress.
well, it's got Michael Caine in it, so
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the Great Muppet Caper with Charles Grodin, which is another great one, where Miss Piggy and Kermit are like 007 spies. If you haven't seen that one, you have to watch that one. I mean, you have a son now. You introduce him to
he's
Muppets.
not super
Actually, I think
into those because they're a little too adult.
a couple more years.
He did like Charlie Brown Christmas because it's just like simple.
Yeah, when he loses interest in that one is when it's time to get him back into Muppets, I think. So, yeah, I love the Muppets. I watched them all growing up, and I know even my dad always liked the Muppets, so I think we watched them more because of that. But, yeah, I like the Muppets.
Yeah, speaking of what Marco loves and what I really like, and I think you like, the new Gymkhana video.
Oh, it's
that
amazing.
Came out the day after we recorded last week's episode, so we didn't get to talk about it.
Yeah, it brings back, like, earlier Gymkhana energy, for sure.
Oh, and then
I would say the closest thing it reminded me of is like the San Francisco one.
Yeah.
Because that one blew my mind when it came out, and this one here did the same.
I still like the one at the French racetrack. That's like 3.
That was cool too. Yeah.
I've been kind of going through the back catalog because Marco really enjoys them because they're just like cars doing donuts. So he's just into it.
I mean, what's not to like?
And he asked for he's like, when does it get to the monster truck? And when does it get to the helicopter part?
Sure.
Because
can we talk about that monster truck? Because that was insane.
Yeah, I think it's like son of a digger.
What does a monster truck weigh?
I don't think the new tube frame ones. I mean, they weigh a lot, but they're not. We talked about this on the monster truck episode. Like the tube frame trucks.
That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's when they started being able to do all the crazy tricks when they switched to the tube frame stuff.
Sure.
And to watch them do it, like, it's cool because they did the in-car of him balancing it on the nose because he's like forward reverse on the brakes, on the gas.
Oh, they weigh 12,000 pounds.
I mean, that's not too bad for how big that is.
Can you imagine, though, manipulating a machine with that kind of, like, exactness? With that kind of, I guess the word is precision.
Yeah.
With that kind of precision that weighs 12,000 pounds? Like, I didn't know they could do that stuff. Like he forward flips it, lands on its nose, and then like just
You haven't seen
balances
any
it.
like videos of new stuff? Oh yeah.
I guess I'm not of the target audience or monster trucks.
Yeah, but
you've got attention.
You've got little kids in the family out there. Take them to a monster truck rally out there.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm gonna have to.
Because that's, it's a strange story. But I ended up with one of our friends out here.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely for like kids. But it was cool what they do with them.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely for children, but at the same time, like you can appreciate that there's a driver in that vehicle making it do those things that you couldn't do with an RC car. Like it's insane what they do. I don't have much, I guess, appreciation for it because I've never seen it live. But when I saw him jump that thing and land it on its nose and just leave it there, it was quite impressive how he could balance it while he drifts underneath it. Because I mean, obviously, if he landed on the Subaru as it was drifting behind him, it would have been ugly.
Yeah, it's not. They're not just they don't just do car crushing or trailer pulling anymore.
No, they're a whole show. They're basically, I mean, for lack of a better word, like you'd watch like figure skating, like it's that kind of a competition, like it's like a dance.
I think it's more like pro wrestling actually. When you go to an event, it's kind of planned out. Like there's heels, and there's good trucks and bad trucks.
So is the racing pre-decided?
Maybe kind of. I couldn't really tell. I mean, it's inside of a football stadium. It's like 2 seconds.
I did see it once a very long time ago. I don't think the trucks were exactly the same. They were tube frame trucks, but they weren't quite as crazy as now. And also, when I saw it inside the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island, which is a hockey rink. So the trucks didn't really have room to do anything.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when they do them like inside a place like that.
Yeah, it was kind of it was super loud, and it was over before it began because they literally had the length of like 3 trucks to play with. So it was.
I'd rather see it at like a fairground because I want to see them like have some space.
Yeah, well, that's what they used to do when they first came out when we were kids. When you'd have like Bigfoot and Little Barefoot and the Carolina Crusher, you'd see videos of them, and they'd have them at like giant fairgrounds, and they'd have full 1/4 mile long tracks. So it made a lot more sense. But I don't know. I was just, my mind was blown by a lot of things in that video.
Yeah, the 50-50 rail grind was cool.
That was cool, but that was something that has been done because they did that on, what was that Netflix show with the drifting competition?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, I never watched it.
Yep. Oh, you should watch that. It's fully entertaining. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. 100% enjoy it. 100% enjoyed it. If it's still being played on Netflix, I don't remember what it's called. Hyperdrive.
Yeah.
That was the name.
And then
they had one track where they had to come out of this like little jump and land on a rail and grind it. It was optional. They didn't have to do it, but they got more points if they did it. So that's where that came from. Cool though, definitely cool. And the drag race against the El Camino was wild. Like, obviously, the El Camino had 0 traction, and if it had traction, it might have been a different story. But it was definitely
cool.
Yeah,
I think it just looked cooler to rip a Bernie like that, and then. But when the video cuts to him turning into that neighborhood, and the El Camino's throwing the chutes, he's moving at that point. Like you can see it.
Yeah,
like he's got up to speed.
Yeah. Yep.
So crazy.
Yep, it made me wonder, like, the El Camino is a full-on, like, big tire drag car. So on a prepped surface, it would have no competition off the line. The El Camino would annihilate that Subaru.
Yeah.
But I don't know what would happen, half track, 3/4 track, if the Subaru would track it down and pass it just based on sheer acceleration and gearing and top end. Because the truck's only designed to go 1/4 mile, so... The Subaru can keep going from there.
Yeah, but that was what I was talking about with the Electricana, that they should have had like Block come up to one of the Audis and have one of the Audis start, and then the electric car catch up and pass them. Just show how fast the electric car could accelerate.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. My theory with that is those are museum pieces and they're not prepped for any kind of racing at the moment, and they require more work than they'd be willing to put in to do a single shot like that for, Audi spent a lot of money on that video. They probably were at their budget. They didn't factor in for that, I guess. But no, it was the what was the name of it? I don't remember the name of it. Whatever the new Gymkhana is.
Electricana?
No, after that, the new one with Travis Pastrana and the Subaru.
I think it's just like
There's a
Florida Vacation or something. Gymkhana Florida Vacation. It's
yeah,
not
something.
It's like Gymkhana.
So it's funny because they
22.
released
It's
two
like
of
not-
them. Yeah, well, they released two of them within like the same year because the Electricana just came out. So was my assumption because Travis Pastrana actually he broke his hips filming that.
Yeah.
So did they get delayed because of that? Is that why it took so long to come out? I don't know.
I think so, because you had the last one he did was 2020, and they didn't do one over 2021.
And they've been parading that Subaru around for a while.
Yeah.
So I mean, I saw that Subaru in person actually. It was at SEMA this year, and it was really cool to see it. So, and that was the Air Slayer was the last one, right?
Yeah.
That was built to do also Climb to the Clouds. So, I'm hoping to see the Subaru do some actual competition now too.
I thought it did the hill climb.
So, it did the hill climb at
Yeah.
Goodwood, but I think I'd like to see it at like Pikes Peak or Mount Washington or something like that. Somewhere in the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah,
Goodwood seems a little more of like a show than an actual race sometimes.
yeah. No, that was and then we had that big jump with the Air Slayer, which
Yep.
was impressive, and then
Which looks like nothing now.
it's still. I rewatched it because I got Marco into that one too. It's still pretty impressive.
Oh, it's impressive, but when he hits that jump in this one at 165 miles an hour,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, okay. We're doing this now.
Oh, and there's a jet. I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, races a jet down that bridge, and then he jumps a helicopter. And the part that nobody talks about is when he literally does, what was that race car movie with John Candy? Speed Zone?
Yeah, the skip.
Where they skip the
Yeah.
Lamborghini across the pond. They do that in the Subaru.
Yeah.
Insane. I think when he came out of the pond, he hit that edge a lot harder than he was supposed to. Because that thing launched hard coming out of the pond. So, but yeah, it's 100% worth the watch. Again, much like Monster Trucks, I don't think that, us in our age group are the intended audience, but man, you really get me with some good car
I mean,
action.
I don't know. I kind of argue
So-
again. I don't agree with you because the guys making it are our age.
True. I guess it's just kind of like it seems a little, I don't know, a little more hyped up than something I'd normally be into. But I love it because it's cars doing fun stuff that we wish we could have done when we were children or adults.
Well, it's just well
or
made.
ever. Yeah, they're very well made. I mean, I fully enjoyed the whole behind the scenes Gymkhana thing that they did a few years ago after what Gymkhana 8. So, yeah, no, it's a very impressive video, and the car itself is impressive too. Like that's the amount of engineering that goes into a car like that is just it's insane.
It's also funny that it's like low key a WRX ad.
It's not so low key in the end.
No, well, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we sell this WRX.
Yeah. By the way, watch me jump this brand new car that you can go buy at a showroom, but please don't jump. Which actually I was looking for. There was no disclaimer in the bottom when he was jumping that car. I was surprised.
But what's so crazy about Subarus, right? They're showing the shifter, and that 6-speed knob is the same 6-speed shift knob that was in my 05 STI. That's in Stephanie's 6-speed Crosstrek. That's in the 2022 6-speed WRX. You're like, gee, could they not afford a new shift knob?
Or it works.
I guess
So
it's just funny that
it
it's the
became
same
the thing.
one for almost 20 years.
It's their signature. It's their signature at this point.
Yeah.
God, that's a depressing thought that your 05 STI is almost 20 years
Yeah.
old. Oof. It's almost eligible for antique plates.
Mm-hmm.
It is in some states because 19 is the number. I guess 19 is not there yet. It's only 18, but still, it's.
I know. I did get a kick out of that line though about the SVX.
I don't remember what he said.
Oh, it's like the future, but in the past.
But in the past, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, it's fully entertaining. I would 100% suggest you watch it. If you haven't already, if you're under a rock and you haven't seen the latest Gymkhana video, it makes the Electricana one seem real lame now.
No, I like the Electricana one too.
I liked it 100%, but it doesn't have all
That
the
gets
same
big watches in this house
over
too.
the top ridiculousness. It doesn't have the same over the top ridiculousness of this latest one. So
And then I think as far as like pure driving though, the Tail of the Dragon one is like one of the best ones.
So that's the new Red Bull one with Scott
Yeah.
Speed, right? I think we talked about
We did.
that one. That one's
A lot
really
of the
good,
same
too.
people. It's funny. I know a lot of the people that I follow, a lot of people that film it on Instagram. So now I'm
Sure.
seeing their behind the scenes stuff. A lot of the same people on all the 3
Sure.
videos.
I mean, it
Yeah.
would make sense because both the Electricana and the new Gymkhana one are both Hoonigan, so it's the same employees. And then I'm sure some of them probably contract out for some of the other teams because they know what they're doing because they've been doing it for. I mean, Hoonigan's at least 10 years old now, so it's been going on for a while. Actually, no. When did the first Gymkhana came out? Probably
It was like 2008,
close to 20 years ago, right? Okay, it was 08.
08, 07.
I'm just trying to remember because it feels like when did YouTube first become a thing?
It's like 07, 08.
Okay, God,
And it was
feels
kind of
like
only
forever.
like
It's
a
been
big
that
deal
long.
in like Subaru circles.
Yeah,
And then by like the third one, that's when it started getting really big.
yeah. When he switched to Ford and got more money,
Hmm.
that's when it got bigger. But, 'cause I remember the first one like drifting through a warehouse and running over light bulbs, and we were like, "Whoa!" And now they've legitimately jump over helicopters. Like, what kind of FIA rules do you have? I've done FIA. Who's the FAA? What kind of FAA rules do you have to like? What palms do you have to grease to get permission to jump a helicopter in a car?
I don't know.
Like, who okays that? I think there's a reason it was filmed in Florida.
Stephanie was like, "So is that
No other
bridge
state
just
would let it
out?
happen.
Like, because there's no like, it's clearly a drawbridge, but it was like missing the drawbridge part."
Yeah, they probably took it off for the thing. Like, that's how much money they spend on this stuff. They probably legitimately removed the road surface of the bridge to jump it. Like, last time he jumped a boat, and he's like, "All right, boat was cool. Now I get to jump a helicopter. Turn up the risk factor just a little bit more."
I mean, the only thing I kind of wished, I
Madman.
don't know what they would have done, but I thought because it was like a Vermont sports car. It's inspired by the U.S. ski team car. His things like plaid, like the red, buffalo check plaid. I was like, man, it would have been really
Sure.
cool if they did one in Vermont, like kind of in the
mean,
winter.
Time's not
Yeah.
over yet. This could very well happen. I mean, all of the new clothing that Hoonigan is selling from that video is all buffalo check plaid. So, you should
Oh,
probably
you know
check
what
it
it was actually? I think even before the Gymkhana one was it was like Stunt Masters on Discovery Channel when
out.
Ken Block made that huge jump in the rally car. It was like the longest jump ever in a car,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
171 feet or something.
And it's now been blown out of the water.
Yeah, it was right. Oh yeah, because we went over this because we were talking about it in the old Stuntman episode. It was like the record had been around for like a long time until Ken Block broke it, and then did Pastrana break it again with something else? Now I'm forgetting. There's been so many of these videos over the years.
Yeah, Gymkhana 1 was November of 2008.
And then there was a video of him that actually Disco Steve on the Discord reminded us of. It was very old, where he's racing up the ski slope in the rally car. They
Yep.
threw like the thin.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was like one of the early ones.
That's all pre-Hoonigan stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, Gymkhana 1 was legitimately 2008, so that's 15 years ago. Like, how? Doesn't even make sense. They got 15 million views, which at the time was an absurd amount because YouTube was only a year old, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So crazy. It also doesn't seem right to me that both 2008 is 15 years ago, but also that YouTube just started in 08.
Yeah.
Like, or 07. Like, I feel like it's been around
No.
forever, and it really hasn't.
No,
It's
and
really a more recent thing.
the upload limit at the time was only 10 minutes. You can only do a 10-minute video for a long time, actually.
Yeah. Now it's like no limit.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
And the quality back then, obviously, compared to now, too. Like, the amount of technology improvements
Well, plus you had,
just in the past few years.
it was like YouTube versus Google Video. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Yeah. Well,
I don't. I remember there's been a couple other ones, like Vimeo was around for a little bit.
it's still around. It's more of the artsy,
But
if you want to do like fancy
never really
stuff.
hit. Yeah. And there used to be streetfire.net for car videos.
Yeah, and it was like, man, who's gonna win here, YouTube or Google? And it was like, well, probably Google, but it turned out they just ended up buying YouTube anyways.
Yep. Well, it was the same thing when, Blu-ray and HD DVD came out. It's like, who's going to win? Oh, HD DVD's got the name HD DVD. Obviously, it's got to win. And then Blu-ray won. So, never a sure thing, right?
Yep. Well, anyway, yeah, that video's cool. Go watch it. I've got a little bit of news before we get into your stuff. Fresh off the press, I just saw this. Grid Life has announced they're going to Lime Rock, going back to Lime Rock, August 18th through the 20th, 2023.
Excellent.
So I will clear my calendars and make sure I'm going to see that this year.
That is the weekend of my kid's birthday. So generally, I am in New England for that weekend. So I don't want to make any promises, but I can probably go to at least one day of
And
that.
it says Lime Rock Park inked a 3-year deal with Grassroots Motorsports with the Grassroots Motorsports event and lifestyle brand, bringing Grid Life back to Connecticut circuit. Bring Grid Life back to the Connecticut circuit through 2026.
Awesome. It looked like it was a hell of a time, and neither of us got to see it because you were actually here when it happened last year. Because it was a different time of the year, but it was later, wasn't it?
No.
I feel like it was in...
Maybe it was like a week later.
Okay.
It was like the end of August, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how it worked out. Because I think
Doesn't matter.
my kid was here for her birthday last year. Anyway, whatever. Unimportant. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be able to go. And if not, then you can enjoy it. So we should probably get some kind of auto off-topic group together to go. There's enough people in the area.
Yes.
You guys could have a fun time.
Yes.
Sounds
think,
like a win-win. Sounds like something that can be discussed on the Discord.
Yeah. Yes, that's a Discord discussion. So join our Discord and you can discuss it.
Perfect.
Which, but I might as well plug it right now. So if you want to come join our Discord, hit us up on the social media, private messages, and we'll send you the link for it.
More and more people every week.
And there's some fun stuff in there.
It's growing a lot. Yeah. Yep. Currently doing our Snap Tight model kit build off
do
too.
that. But you've been teasing a car in here that you've already shared with the Discord. So it's in your possession now. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I have a car. Yeah. Been a long time since I bought a car. Been
2 weeks?
I don't know, 3-4 weeks. It does seem ridiculous. And I shared it with somebody else not that long ago. And they're like, man, how do you have all the money for all these cars? And I had to be like, kind of take a step back and say, all right, I don't have a lot of money. It's just been a weird year where there's been a lot of cars moving and changing hands. So it may seem like I've bought a lot of cars this year, but I'm also no longer in possession of my Galant, my Saab, and my Volkswagen. So all three of those cars went away, and all three of those cars brought money in my pocket, which paid for the 3 cars that have been added. And there was also the Subaru, which I talked about, which we bought cheap and sold. So technically, there are 4 cars that are gone or have come and gone that have turned into these 3 cars. So first, it was the 944, then it was the Corolla wagon, and now it is the car I've been teasing, which I've been super excited about because it's a car, again, that belonged to a friend of the show, Al. He bought it a few years back, and I have been obsessed with it since he bought it because it's a super nice car. Have you seen it in person, Andrew? Not sure if you've actually seen this one or not.
No, I never got to see it in person.
No? Okay, well, you'll have to next time you're out here because it's good. So
I saw him drive by at my house today. Got it.
Oh, really? So it is a 1989 Merkur XR4 Ti. So this has long been a bucket list car for me. I wasn't going to buy another car. It really wasn't in the plans. Again, I did have a few cars I sold, so there was room, sort of, and cash, sort of, to make it happen. And, I was talking to him about it, and he knew I wanted the car. We made a deal that's fair for both of us, and the car was got here actually yesterday. So that would be Sunday the 11th. So the car's here now. It's an 89 Merkur XR4 Ti. For those who do not know what a Merkur XR4 Ti is, it is sold as a Merkur in the United States. It is built by Ford. In Europe, it's called a Ford Sierra XR4 or XR, maybe just XR. I'll check into that. Where it came with a V6 that dated back to the early Mercury Capris from the 70s. Ford at the time wanted a European flavored car to kind of compete with 3 Series and the small Mercedes, the sporty sport sedan segment. And they didn't have one here, but they did have this, European hatchback that they figured they could probably sell here. So instead of re-engineering a whole new car, they took the Euro Ford and they brought it over here. Now, the version we get does not come with the V6 because they couldn't make it pass emissions. So they said, well, we have a lightweight kind of Euro style setup here that we already have in our Mercury Capri Turbo and Thunderbird Turbo and Mustang SVO, which is the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbo, which actually dates also back to the 70s because it's essentially the Pinto block from the 70s, with obviously a lot of upgraded parts from then. So it's a 2.3 liter turbo inline 4. It's, I think, 175 horsepower was the rating, which, in the 80s wasn't a number to laugh at. That was a pretty good number in the 80s. It was actually faster than a contemporary Camaro or Mustang or Capri. The big difference in the Merkur version is that it's not intercooled. So unfortunately, it suffers a little bit from the Thunderbird or the SVO Mustang. But you can intercool it with slight modifications to the car. They don't require cutting up too much, so it's pretty reversible, and it's a big upgrade. So that is definitely on the list for this car to happen. This particular car is an 83,000 mile, pretty much original except for paint car, no rust. Came out of Southern California and then Florida, and then Al had it in Massachusetts, but in storage. So it's never seen weather. It's remarkably clean, nice interior. Front seats have been redone. It runs out really nice. It sounds really nice. It's actually a lot more rowdy than I thought it would be. I think there's been some work done under hood. I know Al had talked about the fact that the head was boarded and polished, and I know that it's been recently gone through. I'm not sure if there's a bigger cam in it, because it certainly sounds like there's a bigger cam in it. And The only issue I'm having with the car is it seems to run out of fuel under a heavy load, like at higher boost. So I need to figure out that because it's real quick until it runs out of fuel. So it's a very cool car. It's been on my list for a very long time. And the opportunity arose and I couldn't say no. Again, did I need it? Absolutely not. Do I need any of my garbage? Absolutely not. But this one's cool. So I'll take it. And I know, Andrew, that you will probably harass me for buying yet another car. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Who's it hurting, right? Just my yard space. So I'm excited. Do you know what Mercor means, Andrew?
A way for Americans to mispronounce Mercury and get confused.
So Ford executives didn't think that Mercury had the buyer base to support a European style sports sedan. So they disguised it as a Mercor, which is just German for the word Mercury.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting. So the cars are built by Karmann in Germany, the same company that does Karmann Ghias and Volkswagen convertibles and that kind of stuff. They weren't even built by Ford. I
was over at my parents' house and my mom was like, "Oh, I saw Brad's new car over there. Probably the nicest car I've ever seen him have."
That's a good statement. That's a good statement. I wouldn't be mad. I have had a couple of Starions or Conquest that were equally as nice back in the day. I think my Talon was pretty nice when it was new, when I had it new anyway. But yeah, I definitely have a reputation of having some garbage. So the car was in Massachusetts and it did get dropped off at my parents' house, and then my father brought it up to meet the hauler. So that's also something I can talk about. I through my employer, we have a deal with a shipping company, and they have a questionable name. Now, would you trust a company called shipyourcarnow.com?
That sounds like you bought a bunch of .com names 15, 20 years ago.
Well, it always bothers me when a company's name ends in .com.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean your website is shipyourcarnow.com? Or is... anyway. So we had this deal with them, and I was like, all right, well, I work here. We suggest this company for our customers. I'm going to go ahead and give them a try because I might as well. I don't know if I talked about this or not. I don't think I did. So I went on their webpage, and it was during the
You went on shipyourcar.com?
I did. I went on shipyourcarnow.com, and it was during the time where they were actually having their introductory meeting with the sales staff at work. So I was like, whatever. I happen to be needing a car shipped. I'll give them a go. So I put the quote in, told them what the car was. Strike number one was they didn't have Mercor in there.
Oh, they didn't have some super obscure car that Brad owns. Okay. I would not knock that against them.
Well, I wouldn't knock it against them, but my normal shipping company did.
Does your normal shipping company have an NSU listed?
Yes.
I don't think so.
100%.
I don't know about this.
So, anyway, so that was strike number one. Strike number two came with the price, because I got back the auto quote online, and it was like, this haul will be $2,900. And I was like, whoa, for an open carrier, that is an absurd amount of money right now, because I had already been quoted like $1,300 from two other companies. So I was like, well, that's not going to work, and I canceled the quote. Now, this was during their introductory meeting, and the lady who was doing the meeting was like, oh, we actually just got a quote from somebody through your site already. And, the people sitting next to me laughed because they knew it was me. And I put it in there as an 89 Mercury, because that's the closest I could come up with, right? So she's going back and forth with it, and they're like, no, that's our employee. She's like, oh, but he really needs a car shipped? And I'm like, yeah, he legitimately needs a car shipped, so he figured he'd try you, but he already said that your guy's too expensive. And she goes, well, let me have somebody call him. And I was like, no, honestly, don't even bother. I'm not doing it. So the guy calls, And he goes, well, our automated rates, sometimes can be high. Where were you hoping to have it done at? And I was like, where can you do it? And they come back at like $1,700. And I said, no, I'm going to pass. So eventually they got down to $1,400, which is pretty close to like the $1,325 or $1,350 I had been already, quoted. And I was like, all right, it's close enough. I'll give them a try. So I said, all right, sure, ship the car. So I don't hear back from anybody. Finally hear from somebody. Like, all right, we're going to pick it up on Thursday. So I'm like, all right. So I call my father because he's the one who's going to help me out because the car's at his house. Yeah, he works on Thursdays. He can't help me out. He says I can do it on Friday or Saturday, but I can't do it Thursday. So now I call the company back and I go, all right, well, I can't have the car picked up on Thursday because you can't pick it up at my parents' house because you can't get a big 18-wheeler down their street because there's too many trees, it's too narrow, there's no way to turn around, it's a dead end. So like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. They call me back and they say, oh, we didn't want to do it on Thursday anyway. We wanted to do it on Friday or Saturday. I'm like, okay, sure. So fast forward to Friday, I get a call from my father. Hey, the shipper contacted me. He's going to pick the car up. We're going to meet him up at the parking lot on Highland Ave there in Salem at the Target parking lot. Excellent. So we get there. It's supposed to be on an 18-wheeler. It's a 3-car gooseneck behind like a Ram 3500. So now I'm annoyed because I'm not expecting this truck. Also, this truck could have come on a Thursday and could have gone down our parents' street because it's just a truck and a trailer. It's not an 18-wheeler. Anyway, now I'm annoyed. And I'm like, all right, my car's got to go all the way across country on this 3-car hauler with some guy with a pickup truck. Like, I don't trust that. And I'm paying the rate of the 18-wheeler. Why am I getting this service? So then it turns out it's just going to a shipping hub in Springfield, Massachusetts. So now I'm even more irritated because I don't like vehicles being loaded and offloaded multiple times because every time you move a car, you have a chance of damaging it. And that doesn't sit well with me, and I don't like that. So I try to call them, no answer. Can't find out where the car is, don't know where the car is. Fast forward to Tuesday. I still don't know where my car is. Now it's been gone since Friday. I don't know when it's being picked up from Springfield. I don't know that it's in Springfield. I have no idea where it is. Don't get a call, excuse me. I telling them at work. So one of the people in management at work says, oh, I have a direct line to the manager there. Let me find out what's happening because this is obviously unacceptable. If you can't handle an employee car, you certainly can't handle our customers' cars. So they get in touch with them and they say, oh, your car's in Albany. I'm like, okay. So it's Tuesday. You'll have it by Thursday. I'm like,
Yeah, it's possible.
I
It's a lot of driving.
Don't think that's going to happen because if it's a single driver with DOT numbers, he's only allowed like 10 hours a day to drive.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to get from Albany to Phoenix, with possible other cars to unload in, 2 days. It's just not going to happen. So fast forward the next day, I still haven't heard anything. I call back again. I'm like, hey, so what's going on with the car? Oh, it's in Buffalo. Okay. So now it's Wednesday and my car's in Buffalo. Like, what's going on? They're like, well, the truck's broken. Okay. Was anybody going to tell us? Like, there's 8-9 cars on a hauler? Like, it's not that hard to call the customers and be like, hey, truck broke down. Here's the plan of action. Because that's what you expect to know. Like, I mean, sure, I have an XR4 Ti on there. It's not the world's most valuable car, but I just paid money for it. I don't want it just out in the ether and no idea where it is. Well, they're fixing the truck. They're either going to have the truck fixed by tomorrow. It'll be on the road. It'll still be there before the weekend. No. Or they'll bring a second truck up and they'll switch everything over to the second truck.
Do you know how big the country is?
Right.
It's Phoenix
now
in Arizona, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the complete opposite side of the country. And they're not even close from leaving Boston. Like, they went up north west. Like, that's not the direct route. Going to Buffalo first is not how you get here fast.
Yeah, it
So-
is. Because you go out the Pike. Yeah, you go by Buffalo.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
the way I went.
I just think
You go down
Yeah,
through
I
Columbus.
guess.
That is the fast
usually go
way.
the southern route. Yeah. All right. I'll let that part slide. Anyway, they're in Buffalo. Truck's transmission is bad. So they had to get a second truck. Now, this is on Thursday. We'll have the car on Saturday. No, I won't. There's no way. Like, stop overpromising. Get a realistic date when I'll have the car. Maybe by Sunday, but probably not. Make it happen, please. So anyway, they finally get the car back on the road. And then they had 2 drivers so they could go straight through without stopping as much. So they can go, 20 hours of driving in a day. So they did that and they came straight through and they were here just before dark on Sunday. So barely made it by Sunday. Almost would have been today. But nonetheless, they did get it here. But the complete and total lack of communication and the lack of, telling me what was happening and the bait and switch of being an 18-wheeler and then being, no, it's a 3-car hauler going to a shipping port. Like, it just, I would not recommend using
So then
it.
what showed up?
We'll put it that way. It showed up on the full 18-wheeler. Well, I knew it was going to be once it got transferred over. And that's the truck that broke. It was a full Kenworth full of, 9 cars. So it was an entire truck full of cars with mass plates. It was interesting. I don't know if that many people moved here or that many people have, winter homes here, maybe. All the snowbirds. But there was a bunch of normal cars and then my car and a brand new Raptor on the truck. So, which I guess if I lived in Mass, I'd probably ship my Raptor to Phoenix too, because you can't really use it in Mass. Plenty of land here for that. Anyway, car's here. ShipYourCarNow.com doesn't obviously run trucks. They're a broker. So the guy who was driving the truck, I don't blame him. He was pretty good. He was nice. They took care of me when the car was here. I was happy with them. But I could have had the same trucking company through a different broker. And, I've had real good luck using the broker called Montaway. And I've had good luck with the people at Run Buggy because they both have much better communication. And Run Buggy actually does like live tracking software. So you can log in and see where your vehicle is at any given
I
time.
think I used Montaway for the Montero. That's it. I think that's
Montaway is. Yeah, Montaway is. I mean, I've shipped 5 or 6 cars with them over the time, and I've never had an issue. Like, it's always been professional and exactly as stated. And if there was ever any kind of issue at all, like, they immediately call out and tell you, like, "Hey, this is what's happening. It's going to be a 1-day delay. This is why." And again, I don't care if it's going to be a delay. Like, I've driven across country a lot. I know stuff happens. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world, but just keep you informed. I mean, you pay a lot of money. I paid $1,400 to have this thing shipped across country. That's not free. I paid $1,400 for a service ahead of time. I would like to have a little bit more communication from that company because, again, there's 8-9 cars in the truck. That's an hour to an hour and a half tops of phone calls just to keep your customers happy. And then maybe I'd use you again, but now I'm never going to use you again. And I'm going to talk about it here and I'm going to tell everybody at work, and everybody at work won't suggest them as our partner anymore. And we'll move on to a different company. So I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. Ultimately though, the car's here. Car's good. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait for your next visit so you can come out and check it out and drive it. It's a good car. I don't have a ton of impressions yet. I only drove it. Basically ran some errands tonight and it took it to Walmart. Took it on a little bit of a back road drive on the way back, and that was about it. So it's very quick off the line. It's got pretty good low end for a turbo car. Doesn't have a ton of lag. The turbo makes all kinds of cool noises. It's a 3-inch exhaust, I think, from the downpipe back. It currently does not have a cat, I don't think, but it will need one because it smells bad. So I'll probably put a cat in it, and I'll probably put a different muffler and exhaust tip on it because that's not my style. It does have a set of knockoff faux BBS wheels. They look like, if they were BBS, they'd probably be a BBS RS Evo, I think they call it, is their large size RSs. So they're that style, but the style in the car would look cool if they were 16 inch or 15 inch, not 18 inch. They're too big for the car. Fortunately, it did come with the OEM wheels, which are also a BBS style, but in 15 inch. So I could swap those back on for now. I think the ultimate plan is a set of Compomotive TH16s, because they're the perfect era correct rally look while still being small enough to have some sidewall. The other plans for the car are, I bought a Momo Prototipo for the car, and I'm going to put on a shift knob that's one of those like white Delrin style ones, like a rally style shift knob, because the interior is all black. And I think that the Momo Prototipo with the brushed aluminum face and that shift knob was kind of like break up that sea of black a little bit. The bumpers will probably get painted at some point because they were painted and the shade is off a bit. So I'd rather have it be a little more matchy-matchy. And other than that, figure out the fuel cut and just drive the car. So it's pretty good. It's pretty complete. It's not a project car. It's well maintained. It's got history. It's got records. It already has the RS 500 style headlights, the Euro headlights, which are glass lenses versus the plastic American ones that are all faded and pitted and yellowed. So that's a cool upgrade that's already in the car. It has a set of RS 500 hood vents to install, like the legit style from the Cosworth cars. So I'll put those in. It's got a couple other minor things, but it's got a radio. It's got all new speakers. The radio is not my favorite looking radio, but it's there, so I'll leave it for now. And the speakers sound good, so it's fine. Nothing fancy. They're all in the factory locations. AC blows real cold. I'll just do little things here and there and enjoy the car until it's my time to move it on. But I'm pretty excited about it because it's cool. It's a good car. I posted it on my Instagram page, and I'll post it on the Auto Off Topic page as well before the week is through. So I'm quite into it. It's a little different. The last two nice cars I bought haven't been Japanese, which is weird, right?
Yeah. Both German.
944 and this. Yeah, technically both German. Well, right now I have 3 red German coupes, which I think is weird. Because I have the Eclipse is a German market car, and it's a red coupe. The 944 is a red coupe, and this is a red coupe. So
yeah, it's a lot of red cars.
It's a lot of red cars. And I sold my red Jetta, and the red Saab is gone. It's burgundy red, but still red, right? I was thinking about that earlier today. Is there any car color that you've had multiple of?
I guess
kind of been pretty...
the Civic and the WRX were close in color.
Yeah, and I guess maybe the Talon and the Montero.
Yeah.
Both kind of a champagne-ish color.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was thinking of my history. So I currently have 3 red coupes. I had a red Mirage in the past.
I've had multiple silver cars.
Okay. I had a red Mirage in the past. I had 2 red Conquests in the past. I had kind of a burgundy red Cutlass. I had a red Dodge Raider. I had a red S10 Blazer. I had 2 red Audi 4000s. So I've had like 11 red cars. Oh, I had the red Volkswagen. That's 12. The Saab. I had that El Camino that was red and silver two-tone. So red has been probably the most populous of cars in my life. And I don't even love red cars. It's kind of happened. So, not sure how or why, but I've had a lot of red cars. Not on purpose. The Survivor cars all seem to be red, I guess. But anyway, so that's my my new car story. I'm excited.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, that's all we got.
Good stuff.
Because it's been quiet here.
Yeah.
In the doldrums for me.
Yep. I'm actually off this week. we're recording this Monday night. I did all kinds of stuff to that car today because that was new. So I registered it, cleaned the glass, cleaned the interior, cleaned the exterior, took a bunch of pictures of it. So that was today's project. I have projects scheduled for each day this week that I'm off because I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing a from home vacation. So hold on to your butts. Next episode is going to be all project car updates.
All right, cool.
Yeah, should be a good one. I'm excited for this week.
All right, follow the podcast, Auto Off Topic Podcasts, on Instagram. Auto Off Topic on... Yeah, I lost my place. Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook. Auto Off Topic on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Erase and Anger. Brad, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at TSISS350. You can follow our other page on Instagram, which is Scale Autocast. I'm actually prepping something pretty neat for that page leading into Christmas. I'm going to do a 12 days of Christmas cars.
Okay.
I have a ton, I realized, by going through ornament boxes of cars that have Christmas themes on them that I've gotten over the years. So we're going to do a 12 days of Christmas cars, the 12 days or 11 days leading up to Christmas and then Christmas Day. So some of them will be Hallmark ornaments, which are pretty nice from the past. Some of them will be Hot Wheels cars. There's a Tomica car. There's the M2 truck, which I think I've featured before. So we'll haven't featured it since Scale Autocast is a thing. So I've been taking some pictures and prepping that out for that week upcoming.
Cool.
Starts pretty soon, actually. Doesn't it start tomorrow?
12 days of Christmas?
Yeah, tomorrow's the 13th, right? 25th. 13 plus 12 is 25.
Yeah.
No, 14. 13. Tomorrow. Yep. I can math. This is why we're an automotive podcast, not a math podcast, folks. So, and keep your eye on the old Vine pages because we're doing kind of a bit of a soft launch also this week. Again, I'm off work this week, so it's going to be a busy week. And I'm going to relaunch some of that stuff with actually a certain Q45 that you're all aware of. So share that everywhere and let's get that car moved.
Yeah, unfortunately it snowed and they salted everything. So if it rains again, which doesn't seem like it's going to snow again, but we got you a little bit of weather talk right here at the end. I'm going to take some updated pictures of it when I get a chance.
Sure. And no stress because nobody's seen it on the Vine page, those pictures, just from the old auction ads. And we'll feature different ones. So we'll make it seem as fresh as possible. But it's going up there.
All right, cool. So, as always, keep yours analog and aim for the roses.